Hi everybody, it's Samiris again, and today we're going to have a look on what's new in update 3, and that's a lot, really a ton of new stuff. So it might be a little bit too much for one video, so we will only get an overview of the new stuff, and we are going to focus on the gameplay related stuff and glance over the graphic stuff or skip them entirely. If I missed something important, give me a comment. I would be really happy to have that. And you know what to do if you like the video. Drop the thumbs up and subscribe to don't miss any anymore. So we are going to start with the bug fixes and go to the UI changes and settings and new quality of life stuff, and going to work slowly to the new content at the end of the video. So the important bug fixes are really just a few. First of all, the geysers in the desert canyons are now finally placeable. You won't get the floors too steep notice anymore when you build them. Then the next one is that player characters have the right speed when they are on the conveyor belts. Earlier you were faster than the belt was going itself. You could always see then because you overtook the items on the conveyor belt. That's no longer the case. So we will be a little bit slower. And the last thing is swimming. You can now use your E key, so interact with stuff while you are in the water, but you still can't disassemble and no, I think you can dismantle, but you still can't build underwater or build while you are in water. So like I said, there are tons of graphic changes and new meshes and stuff like that, which really look cool, and I enjoy seeing them, but it's too much for the video. The only two, I think, kinda important things are, firstly, they changed the lighting, so the sun rotation around the level, and it seems to me that everything is a little bit lighter now, and you can see better, so I really like that. And they tweaked the grass fields and put lakes there, as well as the game balancing in the red jungle and bamboo fields, so those should be more rewarding to build there now. Also in the settings, and again I'm going to skip some not so important things, but we have a few really nice additions. So we can enable HUD scaling now and change the hub size, especially important if you want to play on a 4K monitor. You can change the opacity from the compass and the hotbar, and you can enlarge your inventory slots. In the quality of life section we have a lot more interesting stuff. So first of all, you are able to skip the onboarding scene, so the whole hub building part of the game and the intro video where you drop down in your pod. You can skip that when you choose your starting location, which is really nice. You get a starting set of items, so you can just head right in to build and start your factory. Then buildings can now snap directly to other buildings. You need to hold the control key to enable or disable that, and you can change an option to switch that around. Also stuff like conveyor poles and power poles now snap to the foundations even if you build them from another power source or from another conveyor belt. And for the conveyor belts or conveyor poles, you can now also tweak the height when you build them from another conveyor or pipeline. Also, you can rotate the conveyor poles now when you build on that fashion, which makes straight corners a lot easier. For building in general, they enabled you to see not only the outline from the building you are building, so those white lines which shows you dimensions of the building, you now also see those dimensions from every other building which is near where you want to build something. And if you have any other building interfere with your clearances, those buildings or those outlines are going to be highlighted in red, which makes building really a lot more easier in tight spaces. And speaking of tight spaces, if you have a merger close to a machine, it should be much more easier to get those ultra short conveyor belts connected now. They changed overclocking a little bit, so additional to the normal overclock, you can now set parts per minute too, which makes fine-tuning of your overclock a lot easier now. Also, they overhauled the equipment workshop and the craft bench, and the MAM got moved to its own building. So the MAM isn't anymore in the hub, and it has its own building and can be built multiple times, but you can only research one thing in all MAMs at the same time. And they changed the way you research the stuff in MAMs a lot. So we have something like tech trees now in the MAM, and you're going to need to research through them, and you don't have any additional new nodes for the hub anymore. You just have the whole tech what you get by researching stuff in MAM like Caterium. You can get that all in the MAM itself. Most of you already know that probably, but foundations are colorable now, so you can paint them. Not really that new, but it's really an awesome change, and I enjoyed it a lot. Also, something we can't really see that directly, but it's a huge game changer and should be something everybody wanted. They changed the tick parallelization and made memory optimization, and basically multi-core processor should do a lot better in Satisfactory now, and you should get a really high bump in your FPS, especially in big factories. But let's head into the new stuff, and even only the new stuff, that's a lot already. So first of all, we got pipes. It was a meme nearly beaten dead already, but yeah, they implemented pipes not only for resources but in the form of hypertubes for personal transport also. So we got 8 fluid resources: water, crude oil, heavy oil residue, fuel, turbo fuel, liquid biofuel, alumina solution, and sulfuric acid. Which means you're going to have pipe networks for everything that has to do with oil and its products, and for aluminium stuff as well. Also, coal power and nuclear power plants need water to work now. So all power producing stuff except the biofuel generators are going to need some liquid resource now, which also means for all of you who want to revive their old game file and just refactor your factory, that's maybe the first thing you really should do is rebuild your power, because your old power for sure won't work anymore. You even need to change those belts for pipes for the fuel generators, or give the coal generators or nuclear power plants water to work. As a side note, there are fuel tanks for trains now, so you can transport liquids with the trains too, but you can't transport them in liquid version with the trucks. For those of you who want to revive their own factories, most of the recipes, nearly all of them actually, got changed and rebalanced, but except the recipes which need oil or aluminium, most of those recipes still need the same resources. So stuff like your heavy modular frame production probably isn't so effective anymore, but will still produce those frames. Next up is the awesome sink and shop. So the awesome sink is an item sink where you can funnel items you produce in it, which get then destroyed, and you get coupons for those items. The higher tier those items are, or the more difficult those items are to produce, the more points you get. Also, the more coupons points you already got, the more items you need to feed the sink to get the next point. So the cost for those coupons are going to explode. But having a resource sink makes up a ton of new possibility in the game, which I'm going to look into in a separate video. Don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon to don't miss that. And also in the new awesome shop, you get a lot of cool new stuff. Well, not so cool but pretty useful is you can get resources and items directly out of the shop, like steel or motors or stuff like that. Also, the coffee cup is one of those things you get pre-built in the shop. So if you buy the coffee cup, click on the other tab and you can just take it out of there. Most of the other stuff are new blueprints, like the factory card, which is really fun, and stuff like the wall attachment, which are extremely useful. Conveyor poles you can attach to the wall and get those nice 90-degree corners, and can move through different heights and stuff like that. Extremely useful. The power poles, the same thing, but the wall attached power poles have a second version, and the second version allows you to feed power through to a wall from one side to another. Extremely useful. We don't need those windows anymore to figure our power line through. We get support pillars, we get oh yeah, the conveyor walls are now in the item shop together with the window walls, which are pretty cool too. And we get new foundations, the sloped ones and the corner foundation, and really cool stuff you can unlock here. That's the basic stuff and new stuff you get. I hope you enjoyed the video, you find it informative. I'm going to make a few more in-depth videos too. So like I said, subscribe and press the bell icon to don't miss that. Also, if I forgot something, if you have wishes for new videos, leave me comments, just inform me. And I hope I see you next week. Bye bye.